The Attorney General in her brief stated, and I quote, "To be clear, the governor has indicated that she will be unable to assent to any legislation that contravenes our international obligations," end quote. Mr. Speaker, this legislation will pass this House this evening. This legislation will go to the other place. And if this legislation passes the other place, it will go to Her Majesty's representative in Bermuda. If Her Majesty's representative in Bermuda does not give assent to something that has been passed lawfully and legally under this local government, this will destroy the relationship that we have with the United Kingdom, Mr. Speaker. And I say that because it cannot be that locally elected governments lay out their election manifestos, go to the polls, have broad public support, polling support, majority of the populace supporting the direction of the country, and it be for someone who represents people 3,000 miles away to tell the country, no, you cannot, Mr. Speaker. If our regime is modeled after Canada, another country where Her Majesty serves as the head of state, and they can be in non-compliance with an antiquated international policy, I ask, Mr. Speaker, why can the same not apply to Her Majesty's oldest colony of Bermuda, Mr. Speaker? I ask the question why. What is the difference, Mr. Speaker? And I want to quote from the Attorney General's brief one more time, Mr. Speaker, in which she said, and I quote, "The government of Bermuda is pursuing all diplomatic and legal options to deliver on its promise to our people, fully cognizant of the United Kingdom's role to ensure compliance with international narcotics conventions extended to Bermuda. However, Bermuda, as a small overseas territory of the United Kingdom, democratically desires, for social, cultural, and public health reasons, to chart its own distinct course in the difficult area of cannabis reform while adhering to international law to the greatest extent possible." I go on to say, as Bermuda is a non-state party to the narcotics conventions, the conventions are extended to us by the United Kingdom government. International law requires that territorial application of treaty obligations of signatory state parties require the consent of the territory government, Mr. Speaker. If we pass this today, which we will, Mr. Speaker, there is no doubt that this government and this country democratically is asking for that consent and telling the United Kingdom the direction of which we wish to travel, Mr. Speaker. So as the Attorney General said in her speech, I am confident that we can move forward. We have fashioned legislation to ensure that we do not have broad legalization, as that would be outside of the boundaries of what would be acceptable. But we have crafted a regulated regime which can fit inside of what it is, the spirit of the law internationally, so that we can move forward, such as other countries in Her Majesty's Commonwealth, such as Canada, have done. And after these debates, Mr. Speaker, and after the resounding success of the passage of this bill in this place, I strongly expect that the UK government will listen to the democratic voice of the people of this country, Mr. Speaker. And I would urge those that are listening, whether they be on Government House or whether they be in Whitehall, to understand that this government takes democracy seriously. Seriously. And if the people of this country elect us here to do a job, we are going to advance their wishes, Mr. Speaker.